Amen to that.
Yes.
Imagination is one of the great powers of the human being. It's one of the 12 powers of a human being, as proposed by co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore. We have 12 powers. One of them is imagination. It's a great power. What you imagine in your mind, you will absolutely manifest in your world. What's going on in your heart and mind is the world that you live in. How many of you feel blessed today? How many are blessed? Who are the peacemakers? Those that are blessed. Those who are feeling blessed. We say, blessed are the peacemakers. But the peacemakers are those who recognize that they are blessed already. That they have the fullness of the universe in them right now. All the power, all the peace, all the love, all the joy, all the power of God is flowing through you right here and right now. And if you're not feeling that, by the time you leave today, you will. Amen to that? All right. Amen to that. Blessed are the peacemakers comes from the Sermon on the Mount. It was Jesus' first sermon. You know, people started following him around because the healings were happening in his presence. A lot of things were occurring because he brought this amazing power of the recognition of God in him to wherever he went, and he saw God in you. And that's what made him the Christ, is that he was seeing God in everyone. And that's what I am hoping you will experience today. Yeah. Being able to see and to feel the Spirit of the living, loving, universal mind in you and in your neighbors. That's why we're here today. So his famous statement was one of the first things that came out of his mouth. This multitude of people started following this teacher and this healer around, and seeing the multitudes, what did he do? He went up into the mountain and meditated. He got away from the crowd. He didn't immediately start opening his mouth and just say anything. He went within, asked Spirit, trusted those words that came. His disciples came to him, and then he opened his mouth. So there was a time, there were moments of prayer and meditation that preceded the teaching. But this blessed are the peacemakers was also a call. It was literally a spiritual call to non-violence in the face of Roman oppression. I'm here today to call you to non-violence, to call you to peace, to call you out of that need for vengeance and retribution. And Martin Luther King said an eye for an eye. Was it him or was it Gandhi? An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Was that Martin Luther King? I don't know who it was, but I believe it. And I've been walking around, when I'm in that mode of fear and vengeance, I'm walking around blind. When you want to get back the one who harmed you, you're walking around blind. Blessed are the peacemakers. Many people of that time thought Jesus was going to lead a violent revolution, a revolution against Rome, to violently push them out of their land. But what he actually brought, what he brought, and what many of us still miss, was a very specific model. A model for lasting peace through spiritual awakening and discovery of God within. That's the model. Discovery of God within you. Spiritual awakening, enlightenment of your own consciousness is the model for peace. Many of us don't believe, well, that's going to work. Man, we just have to go kill our enemies and then I'll feel a lot better. Right? That's the human condition. But you won't feel better because another one will pop up in another form. You haven't eliminated the imagination. You're imagining of being separate from someone else. You're imagining of needing to get back at someone. Your imagination runs wild. But your imagination is powerful, and it will manifest in your world. Look at the world we're living in and seeing it manifest now. That's why this week is a powerful call to peace here at Unity. And I want every one of you to come back on Wednesday night. I want you to be here. I need you to be here. I need peacemakers. I need people to come and say, I am blessed. I am going to make peace in the world. I'm going to make peace with you first. We're going to get together with people of other faiths and recognize that we are all blessed together, even though that we may worship differently. We may believe differently. We may have a lot of different ideas in the physical, but spiritually we're all the same. And to find that common ground spiritually is the answer. Spiritual awakening and discovery of God within is the model that Jesus gave us. That's it. That's our model. You know, I grew up in the Vietnam era. I watched the war on TV. I watched, my brother take part in anti-war demonstrations. I saw some of my brother's friends go to Vietnam and come back, and some of them were never the same. Some of them committed suicide. Some of them were drug addicts. Some of them never came back at all. And in my heart, I was thinking the whole time growing up, not how lucky I was that I wasn't old enough to go to the war, but what does it mean to be a peacemaker? My brother and his friends who took to the streets, they did what they could, but they often were very violent as well. And they got beat up. It didn't work to protest in a violent manner. Nonviolence really is the only way, but I had to take it another step. I also saw Martin Luther King get assassinated and John F. Kennedy get assassinated and Robert F. Kennedy. And those events affected our family greatly because they were the peacemakers. Martin Luther King, come on. Gandhi was assassinated. They were the peacemakers. So what does it mean to be a peacemaker? How can I do that? How can I somehow make a difference in this world? And immediately, at a very young age, I was seeking other ways of peace. To find this internal peace and to share that. To find a different reality, actually, that wasn't concerned with getting back at anyone. When I grew up, and it didn't take very long, I found A Course in Miracles. Guess what? It was all about forgiveness. It was all about what's going on in my mind. It's an important reminder from Marianne Williamson, who says, forgiveness is our greatest contribution to the healing of the world. Our greatest contribution. It's not our donations to the political funds. It's not even our charitable work in the community. It's the practice, the consistent practice of forgiveness. That is our most important contribution to the healing of the world. Why? Very simple. Angry people cannot create a peaceful world. And if you're watching what's going on in the world, of course you're going to get angry. But the first thing you have to do is jump into that meditation. Start with yourself, then someone you love, then the people around you, then to the whole world. Jesus said, love your enemy, but he also said, love your brother as yourself. So it comes back to loving yourself, loving your brother, then take all of that love and power that you have and love your enemy. You're not going to be able to love your enemy from that place of anger, that place of fear. It's not possible. But I've learned through mindfulness, through some things my wife has taught me, and others, that I can calm myself down. I can turn off the amygdala with my breath. I can turn on my reasoning mind. And then, through heart math, I can connect my mind and my heart together. And I can be in resonance with all of you. I can be in heart resonance with your heart. And it doesn't take a lot. It just takes a willingness to love my neighbor as myself. I love all these teachings of Jesus because you can practice them. What I also love about it, I've been reading. So, blessed are the peacemakers. I just swivel my chair around from my bookshelf in my office. And of course, my two favorite books on the subject are right in front of me. Discover the Power Within You by Eric Butterworth has a great, amazing chapter. And it's called The Amazing Beatitudes, which is what we're talking about today. I just opened the book and I'm on Blessed are the Peacemakers. I don't really have to do much work at this point in the way of study and the way of effort, intellectual effort. The effort has to be heart effort now. It has to be putting my will and my life in the hands of the truth. Being a peacemaker, 100%. Stop messing around with this intellectually. Let's do it. So he says this. This is an important key to the potential God power in man. Notice he says potential. Right? Thank you, Corina, for my glasses. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. This is an important key to the potential God power in man. Man is a spiritual being, a true child of God in spirit, but he only becomes this in fact and in expression when he is attuned to the infinite. You have to go to the mountain and do your meditation and prayer, then open your mouth. That's the model that Jesus gave me. That's the one I follow. Attune to the infinite, then expressing your God potential of love and peace. This calls for much meditation and a certain kind of prayer. Scientific prayer. We call it affirmative prayer. And diligent. Did you get me the right glasses? Diligent conditioning of the mind to the accepting and releasement of the dynamic God potential within. I'm conditioning my mind, my imagination, for what? Accepting my God potential within and releasing it. That's what I'm using my imagination for. Instead of imagining all the vengeance and all the war, all the human responses and solutions, I need to go within and find the spiritual solution. I love it. I haven't used one slide yet. But I'm about to. I'm sorry. There's so much going on in the world right now that I have to address it. I'm addressing the war in the Middle East. I'm addressing the war in Ukraine. I'm addressing the division in our country. I am addressing what's going on in your heart and mind right now. I'm addressing the seemingly different ways of thinking and being in the world and how that's reflected in the news. I'm reflecting it in a way that gives you a real solution. This is the solution. Listen to it and follow it and act upon it. This is all I'm asking, is just be willing to allow the Spirit to represent you in the world and not your ego. One more sentence here from Eric Butterworth. He says, this is why there is such an urgent need for Jesus' revelation of the divinity of man. I know that the last couple of weeks talked a lot about this. That there's another way to view ourselves. There's another way to experience ourselves in the world. And that's our divine self. There's an urgent need for this message to be received and accepted. The divinity of man. So blessed are the peacemakers. The peacemakers are those who are blessed. The plain fact by Emmett Fox is that Jesus wasn't teaching theology. He wasn't imagining some church he was going to build. None of that. He was offering healing. He was offering enlightenment. He was offering awakening. He taught no theology whatever. Jesus' teaching is entirely spiritual or metaphysical. And it's not only Emmett Fox that believes this and says this. There are millions of us in Unity and Christian Science and Science of Mind, CSL, and many of your so-called traditional Christian churches. You go anywhere and you talk to anyone who's really wanting peace, and they're going to believe the same thing because it's their experience that there's a spiritual transformation available in these teachings. It doesn't matter who said it, it matters who accepts it and follows it. It doesn't matter who said it. Because finally, all the teachers say and express the same thing. They express our divine nature within. I get around James Kirshner. He's a Buddhist. Wow. He's not of the same background as I am. But somehow we're here together teaching exactly the same thing. That's a miracle. Thank you. We found the core of our teaching. Isn't that amazing? We find the core. So you can do it too. With your neighbor, with your family. Find the core of what you believe together, or what your experience is. Not your logical belief, but what you believe through genuine, authentic experience. Because it will always come down to the same thing. I love it. So this is Emmett Fox. This is classic, and many of us should go back and read it again because it is so amazing. Blessed are the peacemakers. I'm going to read one little paragraph. The great essential for success in prayer, for obtaining the sense of presence of God, which is the secret of healing oneself and others too, of obtaining inspiration, which is the breath of the soul, of acquiring spiritual development, is that we first attain some degree of true peace of mind. It's the foundation for all of it. Finding your own individual peace of mind. When I was reading those books yesterday, I want to read the whole book to you. So go, please, pick up your copy. I know you got a copy hidden away in your bookshelf somewhere. So go find it and read it again. Both of these books, especially Sermon on the Mount, because we're going to be talking a lot of how we demonstrate peace in the following days and weeks to come. So what was Jesus offering us in the Beatitudes? He was just that, attitudes for living. Those are our attitudes for living. The poor in spirit. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. No, so it's not poor in spirit like I'm discouraged, can't go on in life. It's not that at all. In the Aramaic translation, spirit is translated as pride, poor in pride. So there's an energy around the egoic pride that you feel powerful, right? And you see it in the world. Everybody's puffing up their ego and they feel like they're the most powerful thing. They got all these likes on Twitter or X or whatever it is now, or Facebook or Instagram, and then you feel powerful. You know, what is that? Right? It's just nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's pride. Oh, somebody likes my, made up personality here. I saw a great one. It says, I just want my friends to love me for the person I pretend to be on Facebook. That's all I want. No, the poor in pride will feel blessed. When that's no longer filling you, and it's very temporary. It's a temporary sense of fulfillment. When that's no longer fulfilling you, you're going to find who you truly are, and that will fulfill you. That's your fulfillment. There's no need for anyone to love who I pretend to be on Facebook. Because I'm loving everyone, and that love's coming back to me, and it's happening right here, right now. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that great? We talked a lot about the indigenous people last week. They weren't really into photographs. They thought it stole your soul. Right? So it's an amazing thing. We take a photograph, we put it on the internet, and then we say, that's going to represent who I am. Ooh. That's not who you are. I mean, it's great to share with other people what you're doing and your adventures. It includes them in with your adventures. But who you really are is in here. It's your spirit. It has to be felt. You have to be in the presence of someone and feel who they really are. Sorry, I jumped out of the camera. Which is on Facebook, by the way. How do you like that? It's a dichotomy of our times. I'm not preaching against Facebook or social media. I'm just saying who you really are is way beyond that. Yeah, just saying. Dolores is a great preacher. We're gonna get her up here.
Amen.
I'm so grateful that you're here. I just love you. So blessed are the poor in pride, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, they are comforted now. Blessed are the meek, for the earth is a loving and gentle place to live for those who are meek. If you're gentle, the world is a gentle place to live. And it's that way right now. It's not, these aren't like prescriptions for something to happen in the future. This is what's happening to you right now. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they are filled now. Blessed are the merciful, for they experience mercy now. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they are seeing God right now. When you find the peace of God within you, you're the demonstration of that peace. You're the example of that peace right now. Right here, right now. And when your neighbors look into your eyes, they should see the face of God. When they hear your voice, they should hear the sounds of spirit. When they are in your presence, they should be made healed and whole. For you are shining the light of God right here and right now. Imagine how that would change our world. Imagine how that would change our theology. If we didn't look up to heaven to find God, but we looked in our neighbor's eyes to see God. Look in the face of your neighbor. I love it. That's why we love to do that song in the beginning. Right? We come together in the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you Say, I recognize the God in you. Oh. Yeah. See how the story just disappears? It's gone. Whatever I was telling myself is gone because I'm experiencing God in your face right now. And I can say I truly am. Thank you. Imagine how our theology would change. Imagine how our world would change. Imagine how our politics would change. Imagine how everything you watched on TV would be different. Maybe there wouldn't be TV. I don't know. Yeah, somebody's going, yeah, I like that idea. If we saw God in the face of our neighbors, think about it. And then get out there and try to do it. That's our job. That's our purpose on earth, isn't it? Our purpose on earth is to be a representation of everything that is good, that is beautiful, that is kind. And not only that, to see it in our neighbors as well. Of course, you have to love your neighbor as yourself. But first, you have to love yourself. To see peace in the world, you must first experience that peace in your own mind and heart. I'm not saying anything that you haven't heard before. All I'm saying is this is the time that I'm asking you to put it into practice, to decide this is my way of life. No matter what you see, no matter what the appearances come and go. The world is changing so fast each and every moment. Forget all that. No matter what comes your way, your decision, starting today, is to find that peace within my own heart and mind and see it in the world. That's my purpose. That's why I'm here. Everything else is just icing on the cake. Without that, you really don't have life. I was doing a great interview on the podcast with one of our Buddhist friends. and I asked him about this, about spiritual life. And he says, I think life without spirit is no life at all. Without a spiritual life, you really don't have one. You're just involved in your own mind. And you're involved in division and protection of your own thoughts and attacking everyone that doesn't think like you. That doesn't sound like life to me. So this is the great prescription by Jesus, to find the divinity within us and to share that with everyone. If Jesus presented us with no theology at all, according to Emmett Fox, he didn't present a theology. He wasn't building a church or anything like that. Then I propose that all of that stuff is made up by us. Our need for theology. So this, for me, is a good theology. To see God first, you must discover it in yourself. The purity of your own heart. And then find it in others and endeavor to see it in the world. Last thing, this is an amazing experience. And I want everyone to experience it. You know, I had a lot of experience through A Course in Miracles with this. Just taking a lesson like this. God is in everything I see, which is the goal of our theology, right? Because God is in my mind. That's my theology. God will be in everything you see when God is in your mind, or that's your mind is operating spiritually. The spiritual nature of everyone you see will come forth and reflect what's in your mind. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. So that's the proposition of blessed are the peacemakers. That the blessing of peace has been cultivated within my individual consciousness and simultaneously shared with the whole of humanity because we are one and we're connected by spirit. But I need to cultivate it within my individual consciousness first. What measure of peace that you experience is being expressed by others, whether you're aware of it or not. The other lesson that I love is when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. So when you're at peace, you're not at peace by yourself. You're bringing peace to the world. You are a peacemaker. So keep it up, my friends. Keep it up. Remain steadfast in your practice and do whatever you can to maintain and increase your level of peace. This peace is not just a dream. It's a reality. And I would say, ultimately, it's our only reality. So let's stay peaceful. I love you.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass., and visit us online at unityoncapecod.org. This video was made possible in part through a grant from Unity Worldwide Ministries and the Templeton Foundation.